Alright, so we're going to start with the 48 chip bet. One of the reasons is just because I know he's seen some of my stuff online. I just want to give him a different look. Or give you a different look, since you're probably going to be going watching this. The other thing is it's the very first hand, and I have a big hand, so I may as well raise big, since, and I'll do this against any opponent. If the very first hand I pick up is real bad, then I'm probably just going to do my normal min raise. And if the very first hand is big, then I'll do bigger than that, because I'm going to not worry too much about balancing, except balancing as needed. Okay, so we've got a fold from, versus my open, and an open fold from the button. So a 4-3 offsuit, I'm going to pitch into the muck, but if I see another fold or any more folds, then I'm going to assume that maybe you're playing a little too tight, in which case I'm going to go ahead and start opening 100% of my buttons until you give me a reason to change that. An 8-3, still probably just a little too bad. Especially because I don't want to change my open sizing if I don't have to. Time banking and fold. Okay, so the time bank might be, it's not like the time banking is going to necessarily mean it's not that the time banking then is going to necessarily mean that you're trying to trick me into thinking you have a bad hand when you actually have a good hand. Jack 6 suited, standard open. I'm going to play with my bet sizing a little bit, but I'm going to want my stronger hands to be open bigger on average only, but only on average. Okay, time banking against a 2.5 times the big blind. Okay, so I'm guessing you're at the weaker end of things. Okay, now this check, a long tank check, usually means the person is trying to convince you that they might be betting. But because I don't think you're real likely to actually donk it into me, you probably don't actually have a decision. And you definitely were going to check. But I think I just have too thick of a value bet to check back and try to induce. I really would love it if I was wrong. I do think I'm going to just see a fold here, but I'd love to be wrong, and I want to start building a pot right now in case I am wrong. But I'm expecting a fold most likely. So I would definitely do this with my air. Oh, good. Alright, so range is going to look like Jack X, 6X, and flush draws. There will be a couple of combos that did hit the king. Like another, but those would be heart draws plus a king. But pre-flop, I think you were thinking too much to have too many kings in your range. So I think probably a lot of jacks and some draws and some 6x. But some of your 6x can now be flush draws to go with it. And the fact that you're time banking here makes me wonder if you didn't actually improve in some way on this card. And you've actually activated the time bank, so I'm gonna kind of weight your range more towards things that got some help with that card, and then you're donking into me, which is interesting. That looks like a card that's better for my range, so we're gonna just go ahead and put a raise in here, trying to still get value from your sticky jacks, still get value from your draws. And if you did pick up like a king with something like a flush draw that has a king with it now, then definitely can get value. I'm going to be pretty sick about a shove here. but I think I am going to have to call it. I'm just too high up in my range. Okay, pretty happy to see the river break off. Feel like probably this would have been, let's see. Yeah, probably if I was beat, the turn is going to get raised. The only thing that makes me a little nervous is that I know we're recording a video and you may want to get a little more bang for your buck, but I still think I need to go for the bet here and hope to get called by a jack, I guess, or like a king with a king of hearts, X of hearts, or yeah, king of hearts, X of hearts, or something like a sticky jack. And I think it's hard for you to fold a jack here, but if you have a jack, I think the big mistake was betting the turn. Okay, so my best guess is that you had some kind of a draw that decided to donk and lead the turn, whether that's a combo draw or just a draw that thought maybe the king would be a good scare card, except that king was more good for my range, bad for your range, so it's not a real convincing thing. A 3x open means I've got to play a little bit tighter. If I was up against a min raise, I would call with the 8-5 offsuit, but I think the 3x might be a little bit stronger of a range, so let's see. And this probably is getting close to where I want to start using a min raise with my range. That's not, what, 60 bigs? That's, yeah, 50, 55 big blinds. So you could probably, because this will be kind of weird if I get 3-bet here. I mean, with this hand, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to fold it, but, yeah, okay. So 5, 6, 7, blank, 9. I think that does hit your range a little harder than mine, but if I bet 50, it's only got to get through 1/3 of the time, and I do have a gut shot. So if it gets through 1/3 of the time, I'm printing. Alright, I get the fold. So I think you're probably playing kind of fit or fold. So fit or folding on flops and maybe making weak leads with mediocre hands and draws, mediocre hands or draws, I guess. Against the 3x open, I think Jack 4 is a fold. Now it looks like the 3x open is just your standard, so I'm not going to put any more weight into that hand being, or that raise being specifically a strong hand. And I think we're just going to give you the min raise now and just see. Man, I'm not picking up any hands, but I did hit the flop that counted. Yeah, versus 3 times the big blind open, you can probably fold about half your range out of position. So we picked up a pretty strong hand, so I'm not going to reduce my bet sizing at this exact moment. If I pick up something more like Jack 10 suited, I want to do something. The first time I'm going to change and reduce my bet size, I want it to be not a strong hand, but I want it to be a hand that I won't have to fold against a raise. So I don't want to use something real strong because I've been betting big. I may as well bet big with my strong hand, but I also don't want to I don't want to have to fold. Okay, so I'm checking back because I don't think I'm going to get called by anything worse. I don't think better hands are going to fold. I think I rep that Jack pretty hard, so I think you should not be leading with your air here. Not against me, because you also know that I'm going to have jacks in my range. You're going to have less in yours, and I think you also know that I am liable to have some traps in my check back range. But this board just doesn't look very good for my nines. I just really love to get them to showdown. That seems like a bad card. I mean, I've got aces in my range. Yeah, my range looks an awful lot like 7x and ace x. God, against the overbet. Oh boy. I mean, it's just a brutal run out. There's 3 to a flush. I don't block it. An ace, trip jacks, and a king. Guess I just have to lay it down. Alright, well. Okay, 8-7. Lions went up. Yeah, 8-7 offsuit. I guess we're gonna take a look at the flop. Completely miss it. Hoping for the check back. Okay, and I'm gonna guess that you're doing a lot of continuation betting. So when I have the right opportunity, I might look for a c-bet. Let's see, I might look for some check raise spots against your c-bets. Not a bad flop. Still got the over pair. Got the nut flush draw. It's not as. I mean, it's a pretty good flop, I guess. The only, yeah, it's a good flop. It's a good flop for me. It's going to give you a lot of good second best hands that can continue. And as dangerous as the runouts could get, I do also have the ace of hearts. Okay, so when we face this like donk lead here, then what I'm going to do is, if I'm really crushing, I'm going to raise. I'm going to have some number of folds and some number of bluffs, and I think I'm happy to just call and let my position do some work for me. And if you're bluffing, hopefully I can get you to bluff my improvement cards. So here's a spot where if you've got air or you're bluffing, then you're going to probably be betting this heart often. Which is another good reason for me to check back the, I gotta do some math, the flop, or just call the flop. Okay, so what do I need to do in order to get stacks in on the river? If I call and you bet again, any amount, then I can get the raise on the river. Yeah, let's keep your bluffs in. I'm gonna keep your bluff range intact, and also, if you have a flush, I think you're just going to probably go broke no matter what. And when I get the check on the river, I'm going to expect that you have either a flush that isn't a good flush, a bluff. Yeah, you could have like a queen that bet twice. Yeah, I actually think you might be price sensitive, so I am going to give you a little bit better price. I was just going to shove thinking that you were going to be inelastic, and if you had a flush, you would just call. And if you didn't, you just would not. But I think you might get sticky with a queen here. Yeah, I think you can get sticky with a queen or have like a really low heart that is definitely going to be price sensitive. I don't want to blow you off your weak hearts. I don't want to give you no chance of calling with a queen. So I think you should have a weak flush the way that you played the hand. Let's see. We gotta check the hand history, and I think we're gonna see a ton of flushes. Let's see. 2 pair. Capable of donking scary boards with air, and yeah, when you made your showdown value on the river, you checked and called. Okay, so probably I'm gonna look for. See, the interesting thing was the double barrel on the turn. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna look for your donks to be a little bit light, and I'm gonna try to exploit that. And I'm going to exploit you being maybe a little sticky. 5-4 is probably actually fold on that river. And peel one. Been c-betting a lot, but I haven't seen the double barreling stuff after the c-bet. Plus, you just kind of ran into it, so maybe you'll give up a little bit more easily. Take your one stab and be done with it. That is a beautiful card for me. So I guess I'm beat by an 8. Or I win. And I don't think the 8 is gonna bet. I'm not sure if he'll bet a 9. So I check, and I think I can maybe even check call, as weird as it looks. Pocket 6. Okay. Got notched. I'm gonna take a look at that hand. Oops. Raised it, the min raise, that was your first min raise. Got that flop, which was kind of thin. Alright, so you're going to be betting some of your bluffs on the flop and a lot of your hands that are probably too weak to actually bet. And that's all the information I need now to start going for some very light check raises. And I don't know for sure if the min raise adjustment is because of your stack size having lost some weight, or if it's actually something telling about your hands, but I know that the one that went to showdown with a pair of 6s. Okay, given your stack size, I can probably just get this in. But given how infrequently you raise, I don't know that I do want to take a flip. Yeah, so out of position in a similar situation, I think I would just rip this. But in position, I think I'll be able to make better decisions based on flops than what you'll be able to make out of position. Yeah, I think I just have to lay this one down. But I know that you're able to bet once and then kind of slow it down. So if I had something like, I don't know, 8-7, I probably want to go ahead and peel. I think this is about the best hand I'm going to be folding here. 7 with a spade. Aha, dirty. I don't want to go with that anyway. Alright, I'm going to switch to min raising everything I open. Okay, we've got a fold versus a min raise, so that just gives me even more incentive to stick with the min raising. Tightening up a little bit with this short stack, that's maybe. And that's definitely not the way we want to do it. I smell a 3-bet, it's just one of those, I think I'd rather have the fold than a 3-bet. Ideally we get called, but and by we I mean I, in case you're confused about that. We could go with a 3-bet here. It's good enough to call with, though. I really feel like I ought to be tossing out a 3-bet now and then, but it just hasn't come up, so I guess I'm not going to force it. I don't want to check raise because all the reasons I said about the imbalances here that make me want to check raise bluff the flop is exactly why exploitatively I don't want to check raise the c-bet, because I think this is going to be weak on average. So I would rather call and let you barrel some turns, value own yourself, and if you check back, then I can value bet the river, hoping that it goes check, bet, call, check, bet, call, check, bet, and I get 3 streets. But this is more or less what I expected. That's an ugly card. Well, shit. I think you're betting all your queens on the flop, and now that this ugly roll-off has come, I don't think you're going to call with a not queen, so I guess my best hope is that you'll bluff and make a thin value bet. And I can get it. Kind of a brutal run out for my 2-par. Okay, we're going to open raise here. I want to take a look at that hand and see if I maybe missed value. I think I missed value because of the river. Yeah, there's the damn 3. Yeah, I think I did the right thing by not raising on the flop versus a weak c-betting range. And I think my plan was right. It was the right thing to do, is to let the turn go check, and then I could let the turn go check, and then go for the small bet on the river. But the river came with a 3 flush and put 4 to a straight. So I think my bet just got too thin. I doubt you were going to call me with a pair of 3s anyway. So this hand is probably not quite good enough to... God, now I can't raise and fold though, can I? Cannot. Well, so much for my light 3 bets. But I'll remember if you end up getting some of your chips back that I can start making some. And, yeah, I can start reshoving light. Not that light, whatever that hand was. 8 high or whatever. Jack high. King 10 looks like a pretty solid call. Yeah, I mean, we could rip it. Let's see. It's a really good stack to reshove, but yeah, I really think I want to play flops. Maybe something more like ace 5 or something would have been a better stab. Okay, now I've got 2 overcards, not a whole lot more. But again, I think that your C-bets are too weak. And I'm going to try to exploit that by going for the check raise. And it's the first one I've done all match, so I'm expecting this to get through a lot. Because you're betting hands like 3s here that you probably shouldn't be. And some air. And I think that most of that stuff's just going to fold. Unless you're giving me the old reverse, triple range merge. And if I get called, it's not the end of the world. I've got 2 overs. I think it mostly gets through. Maybe I should have put a little bit more meat on that bet. I think it's right, but I know you're looking at that like, damn, I'm getting such a big price, but that's okay. Yeah, so you're betting, I think you're betting too many hands that will have to fold to a check raise. We should be checking those hands back, calling turns with them, and playing poker on the river. If you're betting a lot of your air and you're betting like thin value hands, then you're going to be way out of balance. I think I just have to rip the ace too. It doesn't play very well. It doesn't induce very well, but it is going to do just fine against calling ranges compared to how often I think I get it through. You're either going to have to overfold against it or call with a range of hands that it's beating some of. Yeah, and I think maybe, geez, I'm picking up some starting hands, no doubt about that. Alright, so now this hand definitely does induce well. So we're going to go for the open min raise, and he sees through my nefarious plot. And we're going to just stack this. Alright. I don't know if I have any fold equity. I shouldn't. You should definitely not be min raising anything that will fold here. If it's close, you should have ripped it yourself. If it's not, you should have folded it. You don't want to do that. That you don't want to do. You don't have enough chips to raise fold. So like this is a spot where I don't want to raise fold, right? So I've got 2 options. I can rip it or I can limp it. And I'm going to guess that you're overfolding. I'm going to play a little bit too tight, so I'm going to go ahead and rip it. And I'm still alive. No. Cool. Okay, so you saw me rip a pretty light hand, so I'm going to be value ripping. 20 bigs. hate to do this. Go for a really small 3-bet. Of course, I will have to stack it, but I don't want to turn the hand into a bluff. Oh, shit. Well, I guess we're off to the races again. Another close one.